Hello, hello, everyone. You are listening to The Success Palette, a place to discuss everything that you were not taught in school about how to be successful in the arts. I'm your host, Soda, and today we are going to talk about YouTube growth. YouTube is so important for creatives nowadays. And we're going to go into a little bit more detail later on why that is. But first of all, I want to welcome our amazing guest, Charente Carr, who just hit 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. Oh my goodness. Charente, how are you feeling about this? What is going through your mind?
My body still has the chills of gratitude. The tears still want to pour out. And I can say I just feel really appreciated and really loved in this moment.
100,000, that's like the huge milestone that we would all love to see, but you accomplished that, and I know it took you years, right? I mean, can you take us back to the beginning of when you started, how you were feeling when you started? What even got you started?
Yeah. So I started YouTube back in 2011 when I was 14 to build community with the audience that I was writing to, because I was writing fiction books at the time. And I just wanted to go live just so I can know more about them, know more out that things that I wanted to put in my books. And after that, I honestly paused because I was personally going through a lot, from my health to homelessness to all of the in betweens. I'll just say that. So I stopped YouTube altogether and I picked it back up about, I would say, 3 years ago after my sister passed during the pandemic, because something that she and me both loved was the arts. And we always wanted to be artists. We wanted to express our art and to be known for it. And something that she never got to do was to be known for what she did, from all the writing, the playwriting, the singing, the dancing. She truly was an artist, but all of that went with her when she went. And I told myself in my spirit, I was like, to honor her memory, I'm going to allow myself to be the artist that I know that I am. And I'm ready to show up in the world publicly and not just privately. And I started by actually working on TikTok first. And then TikTok turned into TikTok and Instagram, which turned into TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. And then it went to a whole bunch of other things for me to realize that YouTube is where I really wanted to concentrate my growth. And this year I took it more seriously. I hired a mentor slash coach from Creator Life. Her name is Brittany, and she was already mentoring me for 3 years for free. And I was like, I'm going to pay for her mentorship. I'm going to get dedicated support. And through that and signing up for her membership, she has helped coach me on the things that work for my channel, what don't work for my channel. And within, I will say, 1 week, actually 2 weeks, let me actually be honest, but looking at the analytics, it was 2 weeks. I got 87,000 subscribers from one short. One. And it's, I think, at 1.4 million views. And I am still flabbergasted right now in this moment as we're recording this, because the 100,000 subscribers happened 6 hours ago. And I'm still in shock because I think I'm at 102,000 subscribers. And I'm just like,
You worked years and years doing so many. You have a lot of videos. I've watched quite a few of them from your, motivational affirmation station videos and your beauty videos, your travel. You have so many different types of videos and you've been working so hard and especially, lately for your sister and then, taking that risk and working with Dr. Fashion, who is amazing, by the way. I've been following her and how it finally paid off. Do you feel that everything that you've worked for, how much worth it has it been to you to really have that? And what have you learned from doing all of those videos?
so what makes me know that it's worth it is the comments that I get. I'm going to be honest and real with you. The comments of saying, I needed that. Thank you. I didn't know that. Thank you. them making jokes in the comment section and I'm cracking up at them, but I can't put that I like it because it was very inappropriate, but it was super funny. And I would like it. I just can't hurt it and make it publicly known that I really rock with that because it was really funny. That right there is what like it brightens my day because especially when you're doing a lot of videos, a lot of people don't realize that I've done over 2,000 videos, long form and short form and live videos. And that's only been within the past 3 years. And mind you, I'm sitting on so much raw content that has not been published. So that number's a lot higher than what I've already published and that's currently available out there. And something that I can say is that when my sister passed away, I also had to figure out who was Charente. Like, who was she? Who is she without her sister, who was also my best friend? She was the person I talked to all the time. Who was she? And I even had a child ask me, "What do you like to do for fun?" And I cried because I don't remember the last time I had fun because I was so absorbed in the corporate world and trying to figure that out and wearing the persona of I have to be this perfect person that has it all together and is super high achiever. Because if I'm not a high achiever, then I'm quote unquote lazy to then go into YouTube and TikTok and people not really understand my drive because they're like, I just don't get it. I'm like, y'all, it's because I've had to hyperachieve on everything that I've ever had to do. And I've had to work so hard for everything that I had to do that it's just naturally that comes to me when I am making content. And I can say is that that's how I got to travel. That's how I got to beauty and to the reactions because that's what I actually was consuming on YouTube before I did it. I was consuming reactions. I was consuming music. I was consuming beauty content that was positive, not the body shaming, none of those other things. I wasn't consuming that. And I realized that I have been the motivation for a lot of people in my life. Why not share that with the public? Because maybe they're looking for this too. And if they can get the help that they're looking for through me, that's going to be awesome because I would love to be a solution and not another problem.
A lot of us feel that what we have to share isn't worth it, like that we don't have value, especially with AI and everything going on right now that, someone else could do it better than us. So there's no point in us sharing. Did you ever have those kind of thoughts? And if so, how did you get over that?
I'm going to be honest. I had it where I taught someone something and then they decided to teach it, but they didn't teach it the way that I teach it and it was going over people's heads. And after seeing that, and they never gave me credit for it, by the way, I was like, you know what? F you, the thing that you sit on, the thing that you stand on. I'm going to speak for my own self. And when I started speaking, people understood me. And I was like, you were never meant to teach the thing that I was meant to teach. So I do matter in this. I am unique and people do listen to me because I am a solution to multiple people. I can't say I'm a solution to everybody because I'm not. I've learned that. I really have learned that. And I am very humbled in that regard. But I know that my voice matters just as much as the next person because we all have the gems in our toolbox to help somebody else. And I can say is that when I started to view myself as like that treasure box that like pirates go and hunt for, and all the things that I learn are just the beautiful coins and gems that are just in my box. I was like, I have more than enough within my box to share, and I will always stay rich within myself. Not just thinking about it from a material possession thing, but thinking about it from the wisdom that I've acquired. And you get to this point where you learn so much because I'm a philomath. I love learning that you just if you don't share, like you can't absorb anything new because it's just sitting in you. So I was like, how can I continue learning the way that I do, which is passionately, okay, and be able to understand this information? Well, I need to share, I need to teach it, and I need to get it out so that I have more space within myself to be able to learn more things, to teach more things. And something that I know about me is that when it comes to technology, I have a lot of people that are around me that have issues with technology. And I love being able to teach it to them. And then when they finally get it, I'm like, yeah, you got it. And I'm just so proud of you because at the end of the day, I really believe in that saying, lead the horse to water so it can drink for a lifetime and not forcing the horse to drink.
When you were saying about how everyone has a way that they say things that can affect people in different ways, what you just said, like I've heard it a bunch of times. So it's something about the way that you said it. Like I needed to hear it. So, and I know others did too. And you were talking about technology. What are some ways that some of the new tools and features that have been coming out lately, AI tools or anything like that, how has that helped you expand your reach? Because I know that you could make great content, but if people don't see it, then,
Oh, yeah. So, as someone that loves her some technology, I got technology for days. Something that you guys can't see because this is the audio podcast is I have to the left of me, I have a list of all my softwares. I have a list of what they do. I have a list of how much money they are. And the reason I did that is because since I use so many softwares, when I do these type of audits, I realized that I bought the exact same software twice. And as something when it comes to my taxes, I'm not trying to buy things twice. So I always am looking at my tech stack to make sure it's really in alignment for what I want to do with the ease of use, the customization, as well as the detailed reporting. Something that's about me that a lot of people don't realize is I am a businesswoman too. So my corporate side, I am a Workday systems administrator. So I do system configurations, integrations, and all the things that you don't want to think about. I do that for work, including analytics. So when I was thinking about my content creation, I'm like, how can I work at my W-2 job? That's what I call it. And be like almost a full-time content creator and be a wife and a dog and then still see my family and hang out with people. Like, how can I do all that? And the word that came to me that I learned when I was working at MGM, which was automate, efficiencies, workflows. So something that I first did was get a note-taking app. I did not need to get it because Keep Notes as well as your plain old notes in your Apple device, those work efficiently too. You don't need to get Evernote. I did. I used it for a little while and I realized I didn't need that software when I have Google Documents too. So it's that. That was one. Two is that the second thing is what is my workflow? I realized because I do system configuration work, I'm going to take you guys through what a workflow is and what I'm talking about. A workflow is a process in which you do work in. So, how it starts for me is I have an idea and I write the idea down. After I write the idea down, I gather requirements for that idea, which means I do my research on the idea. So, in this case for YouTube, I will go to studio.youtube.com, go to analytics, and go to inspiration, or also known as the research tab, and look up the keywords to see what is currently the highest search result. After I do my research, I move into creating the content that fits those keywords in my style. After I get that done, I have to now think about how am I going to edit it to fit my brand. My brand is sunshine, rainbows, uplifting, educational, and affirmational. So that is my brand. So when I'm thinking about my editing, I'm thinking about that. After I take it from the video editing, which I use CapCut for, I use Canva for. I have tried DaVinci and I have tried Adobe Pro. That is a lot. The learning curve is high, so I stopped that. I'm gonna stay with CapCut until I have to use another editor. After I finish with that, I then, because I do it on CapCut desktop, I can convert the long form into a bunch of shorts using AI and saying I need it to be less than 60 seconds, and it'll make me like 12 shorts to then upload to YouTube. After I do that, then it's the fun part where I have to title my creation, descript my creation, hashtag my creation, and then get promotional materials for that creation. And I use Canva to do that. And I make a template and I use that template constantly so I don't have to rework the wheel. I know it's already working on my channel, so I'm going to use the exact same thing. I'm just going to tweak it, change the colors a little bit, depending on what and who I'm talking to. And then from there, I go into launching everything, which means I'm scheduling it out and things are going live. And then I go into hypercare, which is I'm going to my comment section. I'm commenting back to people. I'm engaging with them. I am talking to them. But that's literally my entire workflow per video. Okay. Yeah, I gave you guys a lot, but I told you I'm going to explain to you what my workflow is. So I use a few softwares to get a lot done. And something that helps me with the title and description is Gemini.google.com and ChatGPT. And the prompts that I use, you might want to write this down or might you want to pause and write this down. Okay. The prompts that I use is hey, I am currently working on a YouTube video and it's about this. Using these key terms, and I put the key terms in quotations, please create me SEO optimized title and description with relevant hashtags to get more engagement on this video. And then it will spit out an entire result and it give me three different options to choose from if I use Gemini, which is Google's AI. And I pick from that and then I just upload it. And that's how I do that. I also use Opus Clips. There's a lot of softwares I use, including like my regular calendar, because I have to time block myself too to be able to do everything that I do and still have time for me.
I definitely need to check all of those out because I feel like I am doing so much work and then we get overwhelmed because as artists, we just want to create. We want to create and we don't want to do all these extra things that we need to do, but there are tools that can help us. And I know that it could be a little overwhelming to, you know, do the maybe not as artsy side of the things, but do you like those other aspects of creating YouTube, or does that overwhelm you when you have to do so much extra work?
The only thing that I can say that has been overwhelming me is video editing, and that's only because of how long it takes, depending on how long the video is. So when I'm making my long form, that takes me sometimes 2 to 5 hours per video. And that's a lot of time out of my day when like I said, I do the most already. I already know that, y'all. I already know that. Y'all tell me. I already know. So I just can't. So right now, I'm gonna be honest and real with you, live as we speak right now. My husband's best friend's girlfriend wants to learn content creation, so I'm teaching it to her, and she wants to learn video editing. So right now, I am building a video editor as we speak to help me do all of this because I realized early on I needed a team. I've had multiple virtual assistants. I've had multiple social media managers. I've hired these individuals. I've even had a branding person come in and help me out, and they did not finish my media kit. So I had to sit down one day for 6 hours and work on my own media kit, and that was a doozy because I've never worked on a media kit before. Now I could do it pretty much in my sleep. But something that I can say is that I have fun creating, period. It doesn't matter if it's with colors or it's with technology. I like creating. So I do it in multiple forms and fashion.
And I love that you could really think of some of these extra tasks as a way to create. It's not like you could have fun doing the more tedious stuff, you know. And I love that you really embrace that. And you mentioned a team, and I know that you have your team that kind of helps you build your YouTube channel that you've hired out, but I also know that you have a really good community. Can you talk a little bit about how you built that community and how that community has helped you grow on YouTube?
So I'm a community builder no matter where I go. That's just what I do. So something that happened last year around the November time period, I was on this app by the name of Fanbase, and I was at a point where I was done with it because they kept talking about the exact same toxic stuff every day. And as someone that stays as positive as I can be, I know I can't be around negativity and toxicity for a long time without me then becoming that. And I was. And that made me do a serious pause. I was like, that's happening. My goals are not getting completed. I am sick again. Like this is not it for me. So what I decided to do is I've always been quote unquote the plug. Every time I go to a new community, they call me the plug, they call me the secretary, or they call me the CEO. So one of these three titles. Can't make this up. So since they know me as a plug, I decided to do what I do and make a Telegram group. It was called Renaissance Visionaries first. And it was just to help a lot of people at one time with different resources, talks. as well as like business funding and all the in betweens. And then I was like, nah, I need something more dedicated. I need something more focused. So I then created a group called the Creative Squad, which is my own pretty much talent agency I've built, where I help content creators with their content, their mental health, as well as helping them with getting monetization on multiple platforms. And it started with me and four others. One of them is no longer within the group, and that's because they were not executing and they chose to gracefully bow out. Because something about me is when it comes to my community, it has to be in a place and space that's going to nourish me to get my goals done. And if it's not a place and space that's going to nourish me to get my goals done, I have chosen to not allow myself in those spaces where I'm not even appreciated. And I can say is that it was through that and also going to Brittany's first Vegas creative collective for YouTube out here in December that got me connected with the Creator Life community and getting to meet her in person from just listening to her on the Wisdom app. It was a totally different experience. And I was like, I can actually see myself working with them. Then she gave me this audit, and the way that she delivered the feedback to me was it a way that I could understand it without it being a very nasty criticism and pretty much judgment. I can't do judgment in my performance evaluations, no matter what it is. Corporate artistry, I just can't because I wish a mother effer would. Okay, that's just where I'm at in my artistry. So I'm not gonna lie to you. So, but the way she gave it to me was such a loving way that I was like, I want more of that. And then I was telling her some of my goals, like I wanted to go to CES, so I want to go to VidCon, I want to do these things. She's like, "Oh, I can get you to CES," and I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, and then she did, and we went, and it was fun. And then I joined her for an Adobe event. That was fun. And then I went to her content house one day, and that where I got to meet Percy or Diabetes Kitchen. And he got to teach me new things. And that's where I bought my laptop from him, the one that I'm now currently editing all my videos on from him because I knew I needed a laptop because my current position at the company I'm working for is dissolving. So I was like, there's no way I can do my content creation on my work computer. One, that's if that shouldn't be happening in the first place. And two, I need another laptop because the last laptop I had, I gave it away to another artist because his laptop went kaputsies. And I was like, you have a six-figure contract to close, so I'm just gonna give you this laptop. Have it. So I was really happy to be able to get another one. And from there, it's just sprouted off. And the community that I'm surrounded by and the content creators I'm surrounded by, they don't have they didn't have the numbers I had. They had like millions per platform. And I was like, I'm just in the group like, hi, I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm just gonna absorbing in the information. I'm just here. I'm just here. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question about this. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question about this. And the reason I can say I reply to almost all of my comments, at least I do my best to, is because Keep Up Radio, also known as Whitney, who is a really popular TikToker and a really popular YouTube gamer streamer, who told me, Charente, even the ones that decide that you're going to be not so kind, you can still reply back to those in a kind way because some of the times you don't realize that that kindness like will get to them, and then they'll say, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. That wasn't my intention," and then you gain a new subscriber. And I was like, okay, so that's what I can say about building community. And I can also say when my community that I built turned toxic, I have pulled away. When it got to where it feels like I was being used, I pulled away. I pulled back because I realized I was helping everybody else create their dreams, but I stopped creating mine. And I was able to achieve the 100,000 subscribers when I pulled back from my group. And I don't like to say that, but it's the honest truth because sometimes some people the analysis paralysis. They get that and it sets in. And if you're around that long enough and you're around people that are bashing their own selves, you start picking up those tendencies without you realizing. And you're wondering why you're calling yourself that and you're shaming yourself in the mirror. And that's what I was experiencing. And now I'm at this place in space where I'm clear. I'm back to my positive self, and it feels good to be the introvert that I really am. I know you'll be like, no, Charente, you can't be an introvert with that many videos. Y'all don't realize I truly am an introvert. I really am. I really like just to keep by myself, to myself, by myself. I'm happy in my own presence. It's just I'm not.
I am the exact same way, so I get that.
Yeah. So that's what I will say about the building of community. It was building, but also build to the point where you sometimes will have to pull back because if you're not being appreciated and you're not being nourished, and you need to get that from somewhere, unless you're just going to be an empty cup and you're going to have a hole in you. And what's the point of that when our creativity comes from us having a full cup to be able to create?
That was such a beautiful message because so many of us, we don't realize our worth, like what we were talking about earlier, and we'll either let people who are toxic kind of diminish us, or we're scared to be in a room with people like what you were saying, people with millions of subscribers. We feel that we aren't worthy to be around them, even though they're like, no, I would love to help you. So you are able to go on these lives and be super bubbly and super confident. And how did you get that confidence? Because going live for me is terrifying. Like, of course, when I went with you, you just made me feel very welcome. So I felt okay. But in general, like going live is pretty scary for a lot of us. How did you get over that and exude that confidence that you have?
Two things. So one, I practice on the TikTok, the platform that I really don't care as much about. Okay, where the trolls can live and I'm fine if they stay. So that's the first thing. Going live, even for like 10 minutes on TikTok, scared the bejesus out of me when I was first doing it. Bejesus. Please know that. Bejesus. That's not even a word, but it scared the bejesus out of me. And I started doing it more and more, longer and longer. Then I started getting affirmations from people saying, I needed you to show up. Thank you so much for showing up. That kept me getting motivated to stay on. Two is Affirmation Station show. That actually was a live show on the Wisdom platform that I was doing. And it was pretty much completely scripted except for when the guests came up. And I had to learn how to navigate just on audio only, to then go to TikTok for video, to then transfer that to Instagram for a brief moment, to then transfer that into YouTube. And I realized that majority of the time I'm having a conversation with myself. I'm gonna be honest, and I'm cracking jokes with myself. And then sometimes the people will catch up on everything, and then they'll have their own little 2 cents, and then I'll shout them out in the comment section, and then that sparks more conversation because I'm still trying to figure out how I did like a 3-hour live, and I still don't know what I talked about. Can I be real? And I don't even know what I talked about in that live, but it did like 4,000 like views, and I'm like, I don't remember. I just know that when I'm there, I am your friend. I am that listening ear. I am that person that's just going to show up. And anytime that I'm showing up in a relationship, my passion and my confidence naturally come out. And I know it's also because I have an inner knowing. So when I'm talking to that person, I understand them from a way and place that they don't even realize I understand them because I can feel them. And so I say the questions or the answers that they thought in their head out loud, like they actually spoke it out loud. So that's two. And the last thing I will say when it comes to lives is that, and my confidence is there's a thing called NLP, which is like a hypnosis that you can do on yourself. And for me, I have an anchor. And how I anchor myself to get ready to do a performance, a talk, a conversation is I put my index finger and my thumb together like a circle, like a kind of circle. And then I take a deep breath and then I say on. I literally turn myself on. And then the confidence is there automatically. The funniness is there automatically. And it's just, I go into that version of myself that is very outgoing. And then after I'm done, I go back into my introverted self and say, you know what? It's time to go to sleep. Good night. And I go to sleep.
I actually did episode about using hypnotherapy to be more creative and confident. And I kind of want to do another one about it because it's like my most downloaded episode. So people are definitely interested in that. But yeah, I love all of that advice. That is awesome. I appreciate all those tips. And what are some final kind of for the artists, the creatives who are feeling stuck, who maybe aren't getting that confirmation of others, like, oh, I needed to hear this or anything like that, that really keeps you going. When you aren't hearing that, when you don't have that kind of feedback, that support, how do you keep going when you aren't getting those views?
Okay, so yeah, Charente has ADHD tendencies. I've never been diagnosed, but I have ADHD tendencies. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real with you. So something that helps me besides binaural beats and frequency music is high vibrational music that have nice beats to it. So some artists I listen to is Mellow Will, Kristen Teeb, Pika, Sharara Wise, Kirby. Who else do I listen to? With Connor Price, Forrest Frank. Forrest Frank, the song Good Day, that's a really good song because it brightens my day up and it keeps me like positive and moving and flowing because music is honestly one of the many ways that I use to transform myself, but also to be mindful of what music I'm listening to because if it affirms me, it pours into my cup. But if it's more of that like mind you, y'all, I love The Weakest Link, and please know I love the song Not Like Us by Kendrick Lamar. Okay, I just have to say that. But I can't listen to this track all the time because it pours in stuff that I don't want poured into me that can take away from my goal that I set for myself. So I'm mindful to pour myself in by one, Soda can see this, but I have affirmations behind me, including a painting with the affirmation above me. I have literally affirmations all around my house. So everywhere that I walk, I am getting affirmed. I listen to music. And in addition to that, on my phones, I actually don't have traditional backgrounds. I normally have backgrounds where it's motivational. And there's this app called, oh my god, I think it's called like I Am. I have it on my Android and I have it on my iPhone, and it's just an affirmation app. So every time I'm swiping through, there's a new affirmation that's giving me motivation just with on my phone. And this is where Sharente gets a little bit extra. All of my folders are actually an affirmation name. So I am literally getting affirmed everywhere that I go because I forget sometimes to pour into my cup naturally. So I've had to put some precautions in place to help me stay motivated because I realize that I deserve to show up in the world as my full authentic self just as much as you because your voice is so unique and it is part of this masterpiece and this symphony that we call this world. And we need your chords to be able to sing. And if you don't show up, then we can't strike beautiful melodies or harmonies because it's going to be disjointed because you're not there. Like that's how important your presence and your voice and all of who you are, your story, your fails, your triumphs, all of those things make up of who we are. And I can say is that you're enough, you matter, and I'm proud of you for all that you've been doing, all that you will do, because at the end of the day, you have always been the solution and you've never been the problem.
Oh, that like got me a little teary eyed right there. That was beautiful. What are some final takeaways, final tips? Where can people find you too? Because I'm sure that everyone is curious and wants to see what kind of content you make, and they'll want to follow along in your journey as you grow even more.
So I'll do the where to find me and my last tip. So where to find me, I am Charente Carr everywhere. So that's CharenteCarr, or you can head to charentecarr.com where you'll see all of my things that are me. I can say is that if you're looking to like you don't even know where your visioning is and you're like, I don't even know what I want in my life. I have a workbook. If I'm not mistaken, it's free and it's all available on StorenteCar.com within my Beacon store. I want you to download it. I want you to evaluate all areas of your life and make the vision, write it down, not in your phone, but write it down with a pen and paper and watch how it comes to reality. Because when I finally wrote down, I'm going to get 100,000 subscribers. I have it right here, girl. I'm going to show it to you so you can see it. You see this? Right here.
Yep, it's a note. It's a note. It says 100,000 subscribers.
So I wrote this note last week. Within a week of writing this note, it happened. There's something about writing things down. You got to write it down, okay? Make it plain to yourself. And even if you forget where that sticky note is, you forget where that notebook is, you wrote it down, which means that it's going to now happen. And you write it in present tense. You don't write it in past tense. You don't write it, I wish for, I hope for. No, you already have it. In this moment, in this now, you already have it. So write it like you already have claimed it because it was already yours. And nothing that is truly meant for you will pass you by. And if they don't want to pay, then they got to go. Okay. And I say this because I'm also doing brand deals now. And there's a lot of people that don't want to play ball. They don't want to pay you. No, you have to pay me. I have to wear 17 hats. You will pay me for my 17 hats. I'm not done taking gifted collaborations because I think that's actually a good compensation when I know people are out here making six figures from one brand deal and they don't have the following at all. They have 1,000 people, but they're making six figures. What? No. So if they don't pay, they gotta go, baby. But if you need to get like your portfolio up and ready, go ahead and take a couple of gifted collaborations and do it if it makes sense for you in your house. But like, hey, they're going to give me an unlimited supply of toilet tissue. Do it because during the pandemic they ran out of those so fast. So whatever it is, if it works for you and your family, do it. But if it doesn't, don't do it. Don't say yes to everything. Use your no liberally just as much as you use your yes. There should be a healthy balance for you between your yeses and your nos. And you deserve, I'm going to say this for the people in the back, I'm going to say this one more time. You deserve to get paid for the work that you do. You deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve it. If you need to replay this section of this entire podcast, I'm going to say it one more time. You deserve it. You are worth it. Your feelings may change, your finances may change, but your worth has never changed because you've always been worth it.
I felt the tingles. You're just giving me all sorts of tingles today. Well, thank you so, so much again for coming on. I know that you are busy with your 17 hats or whatever. You do a lot of work. So I'm grateful that you were able to share all this wisdom because a lot of us really need to know it because it can be so discouraging when you're starting out on your YouTube journey and just seeing someone like you and seeing you accomplish your goals, especially for your sister and yourself and your whole community, it is an inspiration for others. So thank you again. And yeah, I will put all the links down below for everyone to check out. And thank you for listening to this week's episode of The Success Palette. You may have noticed that this podcast has been on pause for the last 2 months. I did start a new full-time job that's been very, very time consuming and pretty draining physically and emotionally, but I'm starting to get back into the rhythm of things and do plan on posting episodes weekly. We have some fantastic topics coming up, so you will definitely want to stay tuned for that. And if you want to get in touch or follow along on social media, feel free to go to thesuccesspalette.com. Thanks for your support, and let's work together to make this week a successful one.